it's nice to know as well that sometimes you're not on your own, and it's, I love working with, and I speak to Mel and Marie from Spark Lab Company that I mentioned earlier quite a lot, and they've sort of put my name forward for things that they think I'm suitable for. I've put their name, in the ring when people are looking for things that I don't offer. And actually we do very different things, but we're all working towards the same goal. We just do it in our own ways, and I think it's nice to have that collective goal. I would love my name to be, if you're looking for a tutor, go see Pocket Potions. Like, that is what I want.
Yeah.
Like, really, really long term, I would love to have my own sort of STEM centre where I sort of, not necessarily me personally, but I bring in specialists to cover your biology, your chemistry, your physics, your maths, your technology, and actually have that under all one roof. So I sell a lot of my physical products through Etsy, and they are very, very good at giving you an analytical breakdown of sales, not so much by product. That's a bit more manual. So I've got a little spreadsheet where I sort of track what's worked and what's worked and what hasn't for that month, and then I compare them against previous years. My business tends to go in sort of ebbs and flows. So the kits tend to do very, very well sort of closer to Christmas time. This time of year is when I tend to send a lot more revision resources, but then that will tend to go quiet over the summer and there's no exams. So I know full well in the business and sort of what I do that there are sort of peaks and troughs to the products and the materials that I sell, but that each one of that will sort of come into its own at certain points in the year.
Good afternoon, Zoe. Thank you for agreeing to come onto the podcast.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
If we could just start with an introduction to yourself and what Pocket Potion is, please.
Yeah, so I'm Zoe and I run Pocket Potions. It is a science education business, and there's sort of two sides to what I do. One of them is that I design and create science experiment kits for children aged 3 and upwards. And then the second sort of half of my business focuses on GCSE and A-level chemistry support. And effectively, I run sort of like tuition sessions. I do group sessions online, and something that I call Chemistry Club, sort of just allowing pupils to reach their full potential for their exams.
And when did you find Pocket Potions and why?
So I founded Pocket Potions back in March of 2021. It came after a conversation with an ex-pupil who sort of really heavily suggested that I actually do something with my revision notes and all of the materials that I was providing to pupils. I still am a chemistry teacher and have been for 12 years. And it's just utilising my skills now to effectively reach a wider audience.
What products and services does Pocket Potions offer?
So it's sort of twofold. So I do science experiment kits. So they come in like little boxes. They've got a method card. They've got the equipment. You may just need to add like a little bit of water or washing up liquid, depending on what it is. But everything is inside the box. Just sort of make science really accessible and really easy, because sometimes there is this sort of misconception that science is only done in labs by like old men in lab coats. But it's not. But what I really want is to make it, make it really accessible for everybody and to sort of ignite creativity and curiosity. So the kits is the one thing. Then the other half of my business, I offer all sorts of revision materials. So revision cards, big sheets, workbooks. I do group sessions online for GCSE and A-level. I run Chemistry Club for my A-level, which is effectively a membership. So they've got me whenever they want. I do online sessions a month. I'm there to answer questions. Effectively, I'm the potions teacher in their pocket on their phone. So yeah, I do all sorts of things. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
And you said that you sell like the things to the fruit, to the, the washing up liquids thing you said you sell?
Yeah, the kits.
Yeah, that's the one. How much do you roughly sell those for?
So it depends on whether sort of parents and carers want to buy just the method card, because I offer them digitally. And then I do all sorts of kits ranging from sort of £4 upwards to £30, depending on what is in the kit and sort of whether it's like a single experiment. I offer kits which have got more than one experiment in as well. So it'll vary, the price point will vary depending on whether it's individual or multiple. And I do also offer all of my experiments digitally as well, which has been really nice because it's allowed me to open up to countries like America. I sold something to Italy the week before last, like a digital card. So it's just allowed me to, even though I don't send physical kits abroad due to postage regulations, selling things digitally, there's no limitations on.
And you know the memberships you said you do for the once a month calls?
Yep.
How much you roughly charge for the memberships, or are they free?
So A level is £30 a month. So it's effectively the price of one tutoring session. And I do one formal online tutoring session within that month. And then the rest of the time, I set it up as a Google Classroom. So I upload resources, materials, and then it's down to the student how much they interact with that. I've been very busy the last couple of weeks because the A-level exams have been upon us. And then my GCSE sessions, I tend to do one a month for year 10, one for year 11. And I do what I call masterclasses as well before the exam. So I go through last year's paper. The GCSE sessions are £10 each, and then the masterclasses are £15.
And how do you develop new products, and where do your creative ideas come from?
In all honesty, they tend to come to me when I'm not really thinking about it. If I'm being totally honest, when I'm sort of got a million things on my plate, it tends to be when my brain starts to work overdrive and I have an idea for something. I've got a 4-year-old who is very, very interested, and sometimes he just likes to do science, as he puts it. So we just sort of experiment, and I sort of let him lead with things, and him sort of just playing around with different things that I've given him sort of gave me the idea for my Christmas chemistry set, which was effectively a box of all different bits, like a potions kit, to be used outside or inside, that parents could just use with their toddlers, just as a bit of creativity and actually doing science, but without any restrictions of you need to do this, then this, then this. So ideas tend to come to me in terms of kits as and when. The resources for like the GCSE and A level tend to come to me when I'm sort of looking at my kids and I'm reflecting on, right, what do the kids in front of me need? The kids that I'm teaching, like, what do they need? What is going to benefit them? Because if it will benefit them, chances are it will benefit others as well.
And do you work with any other companies?
I've collaborated with a few over the years, but at the minute it is effectively just me. I have done some work with Spark Lab Cymru over the years. That's run by two ladies called Mel and Marie, who are absolutely incredible, ex-teachers themselves. I've started working with, what are they called? I can't remember. The Certain Trust, I think they are, a social mobility fund. So I'm a mentor for them. It's mainly just me, sort of doing what I do, but I think there's definitely opportunities for collaborations in the future. I just think they need to be sort of mutually beneficial to everybody involved.
So for you to start this, you must have a very big interest in science.
I am, yeah. I'm actually a chemistry teacher. This is year 12 of teaching, and I'm still full-time teaching while doing this on the side. I did a biochemistry degree, did science A level. Science is sort of a big part of, who I am, and, I love doing it. And what I really want is to inspire the next generation into science.
How have you grown the business?
I've winged it. I'm not going to lie to you. I've absolutely winged this business. It started with sort of just one set of revision cards, and then that grew to numerous sets of revision cards. And then I had this idea about doing kits as well, and then that came in, and then I was being asked for tuition left, right, and centre, but time-wise, me tutoring sort of 10, 15 kids individually for an hour a week is just not feasible. So the group sessions were born. It's been sort of a slow process, but it's grown as it's needed to grow. Sort of thing. So yeah, it's been slow but steady, but it's been on my terms as and when I've been able to manage it and when there's been a need for it.
What awards did you win and how?
Oh, so last October I won a Welsh STEM Award for Startup of the Year. It's for businesses that are less than 3 years old and show effectively great promise. So I was very, very honoured to win that. I was up against some incredible businesses who were all sort of actual companies. And then it is literally just me doing this.
Yeah.
So felt very, very honoured and very, very privileged to win that last October.
How did you develop your pricing strategy?
I don't know whether you're going to want to hear this, but I just kind of picked a number out, sort of. So I didn't. I kind of did. I basically work out with the kits how much they cost to post, and then sort of triple it, to be honest. Making sure that there is profit in there. Sorry, I've got a horrible feeling I may have some kids show up. I'm supposed to be free. I'm not supposed to have any kids show up. Fine. They've just carried on walking. It's fine. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's just kind of working out, first of all, what they cost to make. I'll be honest, I find it more difficult to price the digital resources because once I've made them. I don't have to take into account any printing costs or anything like that. They don't have to be posted. It's just a case of they're made. So I'll be honest, I do struggle with that. And sometimes it's a case of, right, let's just see where we're at and go from there. If I'm being totally honest with you.
And how do you monitor and track sales and successful products?
So I sell a lot of products through Etsy. So Etsy.
How do you monitor and track sales and successful products?
So I sell a lot of my physical products through Etsy. And they are very, very good at giving you an analytical breakdown of sales, not so much by product. That's a bit more manual. So I've got a little spreadsheet where I sort of track what's worked and what's worked and what hasn't for that month, and then I compare them against previous years. My business tends to go in sort of ebbs and flows. So the kits tend to do very, very well sort of closer to Christmas time. This time of year is when I tend to send a lot more revision resources, but then that will tend to go quiet over the summer and there's no exams. So I know full well in the business and sort of what I do that there are sort of peaks and troughs to the products and the materials that I sell, but that each one of that will sort of come into its own at certain points in the year.
Yeah. And what would you say your most successful product is?
From a kit side of thing, it is without a doubt the marshmallow catapult. I have sold probably close to 1,000 units of those over the years. So yeah, they do prove very, very popular and consistently very, very popular. The revision resources, the most popular session that I run is actually the practical preparation session for the Year 11 exam. Because that covers triple science, double award, double applied science. So that is without a doubt my best performing session of the year by a mile. But just because that's the one thing that I do that is not chemistry specific. Yeah. It's a skills based exam that is suitable for anybody and everybody.
What areas do you focus on most from a business management and an operation point of view?
Just take it day by day, because my life is so busy. It's a case of, right, what needs to be done and now. And sort of from March onwards, I tend to focus more on pushing and marketing my GCSE and A-level sort of materials and support and the sessions. And then sort of October onwards tends to be my Halloween themed experiment, my Christmas kits. They make really nice little stocking fillers. So it will vary dependent on the year, but quite frankly, I just take it day by day. And I cannot say this enough. A lot of the time I am just winging this.
So with the kits, do you make those yourself, like handmade?
So I've designed everything myself, but one of them uses lollipop sticks and elastic bands. So I will buy them in and then I physically make up the kits myself, but I'm not actually producing any of the materials inside. I designed the method card and then I use a local printer to get them printed.
Okay. How important would you say is networking with others?
It's really important. I think it opens up so many opportunities, to you and for you. It's nice to know as well that sometimes you're not on your own, and it's, I love working with, and I speak to Mel and Marie from Sparkle Company that I mentioned earlier quite a lot, and they've sort of they've put my name forward for things that they think I'm suitable for. I've put their name, in the ring when people are looking for things that I don't offer, and actually, we do very different things, but we're all working towards the same goal. We just do it in our own ways, and I think it's nice to have that collective goal, but sort of in our own lane, but actually cheering each other on from the sides. They came to watch me get the award in October. They didn't they didn't submit an application or anything, but they were there to support me in October, and it was lovely to have that support.
How do you promote the business and engage with customers online?
So I primarily use Instagram and Facebook. I think it is all about marketing. I do have a marketing coach that I work with because it's an area of my business that I know I'm not as strong at as I could be. So I have got a marketing coach that I work with. And she is very good. She thinks that, her philosophy is that marketing shouldn't take long. You should be spending more than 10 minutes a day thinking about your marketing. And so she sets me little tasks to do every day, and gets me to set a 10-minute timer and gets it done. And the nice thing about it being 10 minutes is that I can do it literally when I've got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And actually I think what I've realized is the less that I overthink it, the more easier it comes. Like it feels a lot more natural. And I think it's about speaking to people and actually they've got a problem and I've got the solution, and my marketing is based around me having the solution to their problem.
Yeah. How do you stop other businesses from taking your ideas?
That's a very difficult one because particularly with the GCSE and A level, the content that I'm covering, every school in Wales should be covering the GCSE and A level content. That's the difficult thing. And someone did mention it to me when I first started, but it's a case of I watermark my products on things like Etsy. So if people try and screenshot them and have the resource without paying, they can't because there's a watermark through. I'm very careful in terms of my product photography, and that I don't showcase everything.
Yeah.
I can't, because I can't show every page of my revision notes because it's very easy then to screenshot and just have the pictures. So it's a very, very difficult one that I find. I have had my products, I have been CE safety testing them in terms of the kits. And I have been in contact with somebody from Trading Standards about sort of, protecting my business name and my kits, and it's all in process. It's just a very, very long process with a lot of paperwork, but it's flattering when people try and do what you do. I've actually worked with a young lady who wants to actually start her own sort of tutoring business and starting revision cards. And I'm more than happy to pass on advice, but I've been very selective about about sharing my actual content. Because she's a different exam board. She wants to do biology. And that's not something that I touch. I do specialize in WJC and I specialize in the chemistry. Sometimes what I do is completely transferable to other exam boards, but I do market myself as a WJC specialist. It's a very, very tricky one, and actually something I don't think you can ever completely stop, because there's always going to be tutors. I am not the only chemistry tutor out there. I'm not the only person making chemistry resources, but I do it in a way that I think is accessible. And I think a lot of people come back to me because of me, particularly for my sessions. And the feedback is that they like the way that I teach and it works for them online. I record the sessions as well, so if they can't make them live, they've got access to them afterwards. It's about staying in my own lane and actually focusing on me and what I'm doing, and actually not too much worrying about what others are doing.
Yeah. What is your vision for the business and how far or where do you want to take it?
It's a very good question. I mean, I would love to keep growing the GCSE and A level side, and I would love to be like the go-to person for WJC chemistry. Like, I would love my name to be, if you're looking for a tutor, go see Pocket Potions. Like, that is what I want.
Yeah.
Like, really, really long term, I would love to have my own sort of STEM centre where I sort of, not necessarily me personally, but I bring in specialists to cover your biology, your chemistry, your physics, your maths, your technology, and actually have that under all one roof, and have that sort of all under my name, and whether that's in person or online. And that's, a long way off, because I would have to trust people to bring them in and to be running sessions that are to the standard that I would expect my sessions to be run to.
Have you looked further into like doing that fully?
Yes, I've had a couple of conversations with people that I know I've got a friend who is a biologist that has gone part-time and is looking to up her tutoring. It's just finding the time and logistically thinking about how that would work, and payment stuff, because obviously the tutors are going to need paying, and it's definitely something that's on my radar. It's finding the right people at the right times, because think about it, GCSE kids are in school 8 till 3. It needs to be tutors then that are going to be able to work sort of after school hours effectively. So it's a lot of logistical things to think about, but definitely something that I'm working on. And with the kit side, I'd love to go wholesale. So places like Techniquest at Bristol, places like this, would love to go wholesale. I've sent out as a yes for Harry Potter, and that turned out to be a massive success. So I'm just sort of chipping away through the rejection letters at the minute. Talking about that, I'd also like to get the kits wholesale, and places like Techniquest at Bristol, Explore, which is up in Wrexham, which is effectively their version of Techniquest. I've sent quite a lot of letters to different places and different shops, working my way through the rejection letters at the minute. But I keep telling myself that J.K. Rowling had 12 rejection letters before Harry Potter got accepted by a publisher. So I just keep working my way through the no's, to be honest, until I finally get to a yes.
How do you sell your products, and do you use any particular software or apps other than Etsy?
Is the revision notes I tend to use. I can do text, I can do freehand writing. I tend to put everything together on there and then save it as PDFs. I am heavily reliant on Zoom for my online sessions, and Google Classroom as well.
And what do you do to deal with customer complaints to mitigate complaints?
I mean, I've only ever really had one, and that was from a lady in America who bought a digital method card. It gets instantly delivered through Etsy via email. She downloaded it. I could see that she downloaded it, and she was annoyed that it had been delivered to her inbox without a physical kit. She thought she was buying something. She thought she was buying a physical kit. Was annoyed that it arrived in her inbox, and so yeah. So I just repeatedly had to explain that she'd bought a digital file, and on Etsy, if you're
As resumed.
okay, so she wasn't happy that it ended up in her inbox without any physical kits. But on Etsy, unless you're in the UK, you actually can't see that I sell physical kits. Anyone outside of the UK can only see digital resources. So I basically very, very calmly and repeatedly had to explain that the fact that she did not read the listing was not my fault. And she just gave up eventually, because I was like, I'm not backing down. I could see that she'd downloaded it. I think she was just trying to get her money back after she'd already had the item. It's the one issue with digital products, is that once they've got it, they've got it. So even if they want a refund, they still have the product. There's no way of me getting that product back. So it's the one issue. It's only ever happened once. But she tried it and didn't get very far.
Now, the last question we have for today, Zoe, is how much money did you invest in the company to kickstart it?
It actually wasn't me, it was my dad. I was on maternity leave at the time, and my dad bought me an iPad and an Apple Pencil, and that is all it took. Instagram is free. So I started with one set of revision cards. The first set to get printed was £35, and it's gone from there. So not a lot at all. Well, it wasn't. I didn't put any money into it. My dad did, if I'm being totally honest with you. So yeah, finished to screen from there.
Well, that's all the questions we have for today, Zoe. So thank you for agreeing to come onto the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.